Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Have you ever seen those advertisements that promise a new you? Which ones can you think of? I think about those ads that come around the holidays, like New Year, New You. Usually it has something to do with your body, like exercising or your eating habits, or maybe building a new habit or making a mindset change. You know the ones I mean. Hey, this is Jen. This is the Bible for Busy People podcast, where this week we are talking about how God makes all things new. On Monday, we talked about a new way through the wilderness, and on Tuesday, we talked about a new covenant. Today, we are talking about how in Christ we are actually made new. You are a new you in Christ. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 4. In verse 17, it says, "So I tell you this and insist on it in the Lord, that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do in the futility of their thinking. They are darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts. Having lost all sensitivity, they have given themselves over to sensuality so as to indulge in every kind of impurity, and they are full of greed. That, however, is not the way of life you learned when you heard about Christ and were taught in Him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus. You were taught with regard to your former way of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." The interesting thing I find about this passage is that it seems to be a partnership with God. We choose to put off our old selves, to let go of old ways and desires and practices, and to receive or put on the new self, while God does the work of making us new. It's similar to Romans 12 verses 1 and 2, which says, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." What I hear this passage saying is that by refusing to fit ourselves into the world's standards and by offering ourselves instead to God and to God's will, we position ourselves to be transformed by God and to receive that new being that Christ allows us to be. So if you grew up going to church like I did, you might struggle to understand this. I really and truly believed for most of my life that it was up to me to make myself better and to make myself acceptable before God. But it is so much more of a positioning thing and a conscious choice than it is about shaping myself up. We position ourselves to be transformed by God. We are open to all that God has to do within us. We're ready to listen and to obey. How does that happen? Romans 6:4 tells us that when we are baptized and become one with Christ, we are resurrected to new life. As a people of God, we live differently when we are made new. We look different. We sound different. We walk and talk differently. We interact with each other differently. Colossians 3 verses 5 to 11 shows this. It says, "Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming. You used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived, but now you must also rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. Here there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all." As it said there, we put off the old habits. We're honest with each other. We're not out to protect our reputations or make ourselves look good. We care for others, and we can do that because we've been made new. 2 Corinthians 5 verses 16 to 21 gives us a new mission and a new title. It says, "So from now on, we regard no one from a worldly point of view. Though once we regarded Christ in this way, we do so no longer. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them. And he has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. So our new mission and our new title is to help others reconcile to God and to reconcile with each other. We are ambassadors for Christ, part of the ministry of reconciliation. It says we don't look at each other from a worldly point of view. What do you think is the difference between an old worldly point of view and a new reconciled point of view? How will you look at people differently if you're looking at them through the new reconciled point of view, knowing that Christ died and was raised again to reconcile you with God? I think these are such important questions, thinking about how the cross affects us, how it changes everything, and how Jesus makes us new. Thanks for chatting with me today. I really love this series and considering all the things that God is making new. There are so many things in our world that we wish could be different. And it's so helpful and encouraging to me to know that God is in the business of making things new, to give us fresh starts, to even work through the challenging and the discouraging things to create something beautiful. So I hope you're encouraged by that today. I can't wait to chat with you again tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.